Yo, what's up everyone? It's Daikin here, bringing you another Guilty Gear Strive video, and today we're going to be talking about everything Testament. It's going to be a Testament overview guide talking about everything from their normals, specials, and supers. Now, we already finished a combo guide for Testament, so if you're interested in playing this character, definitely check out the combo guide. I'll put the link down in the description below so you can get some combos for your Testaments. Let's go and start talking about some Testament normals. Now, starting off with Testament's P normals, their 5P is just going to be a standard jab. This is nothing to write home about. This is just a standard jab that you normally see for a lot of characters. It whip on crouchers like most 5Ps in the game. This is going to be a 6-frame button, and because of how high it hits though, this is going to be something that you can use for like anti-air checks. Like you see some characters do this, like sort of like Kai does this, Eno does this, so like certain things like this, and you can sort of go into a combo from there. So you can do something like that and then you know, go in from there. So it's a pretty good check that you can use on opponents to like sort of anti-air. It's not your like actual anti-air, but you can use it for a fast anti-air check. Now your 2P is going to be the normal that you're going to use more often than not. 2P is going to be a very good button. It reaches pretty far for a 2P actually. So very far reaching 2P. The only thing about it is it actually is 0 on hit, which I only think one other character has that, which is like Faust. So on hit, you always want to cancel into 6P when you can, because if you end your combo with this, if you just do 2P, your opponent, if they know the frame data of this, will try to challenge you. So going into 2P, 6P will be a lot better for an option, because from there you can do this, and this is a much better situation for Testament. 2P is also going to be your fastest button. This is going to be a 5-frame normal, and your 5P is actually going to be a 6-frame normal. Now Testament 6P is actually really good. This button hits very high up, and it has a really good hitbox. Like it reaches really far from the ground horizontally, and it has a very nice vert as well. So this is going to be one of the better 6Ps. I feel like I want to see more and play more around it, but from everything I've been testing about it, it seems like a really good 6P. It's very high up, and it just does its job very well. So moving on to Testament's K normal, their 5K is going to be a very good button. It's going to be 7 frames and a nice poke. And the reason I like this button so much is it's going to be one of those buttons that actually remove the hurt box because they're moving their leg out of the way. Now Testament isn't a good example of themselves because how low their 2K get, but you get the idea right here, is because there's nothing for them to hit. So typically on most opponents or a decent amount of characters in the game, you can sort of hit them before they hit you with situations like this. So I do like 5Ks to actually do something like this. I do like that. Also, this 5K can combo into their 6H on air opponents. So if you do something like 5P anti-air check like we talked before, you link that into 5K and then go into 6H, then that is going to be a combo you could do, and you could do the 6H into the fireball and stuff, which we'll talk about later. Now Testament's 2K, you already just got a sneak peek of it, is going to be this nice 2K right here where they actually get very low to the ground. So you can see that it's actually going to be able to play nicely with other moves that actually try to do something like this. They can sort of slide underneath moves that have their leg disjointed like that. So it's gonna be very good for that, and then we're going to talk about this move in conjunction with the 2D as well. So 5K going to have a little bit more range than 2K actually. So 5K is going to have slightly more range. They're both 7 frames, so whichever one you need the range for, definitely. But they both work very well for max distance 2D. Pretty much like if you hit 5K, especially 2D, 2K, you always going to get this 2D. There's like a slight range, like max, absolute max range where the 5K won't hit, but for the most part, this 5K 2D and 2K 2D will always work for you. So this is going to be something that you will definitely be using a lot in your neutral situations when you're trying to come in. All right, so talk about Testament slash normal. So Testament's far size is going to be your furthest reaching button. Now this button looks amazing at first glance. However, there's a couple of things you want to know about this button. First off, you want to know, of course, this has a lot of recovery, so you definitely don't want to whiff this. Also, this button goes into heavy slash. This is going to be your main combo. However, there is a dead zone sort of at the max range. So if you're playing at that max range, just know that you aren't going to be getting this combo. So you will whiff this heavy slash if you are at a certain range. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to be at that range, or if you're playing at that range, just keep in mind that it will whiff. So you might want to just go into fireball to keep yourself safe if you're not sure if you're at that max range or not. The other thing to know about this move is it's not disjointed, so you actually can be hit out of it all the way through. So if me and Testament here do it at the same time, we'll just hit each other. There's no disjoint in this move, so people will definitely be swinging and hitting this move at the very tip. It's all hurt box there along with the hitbox, so just keep that in mind with this move as well. Now 2S is also going to be a good button as well. This is going to also be another low for you. So 2K and 2S are your lows that we talked about at the moment. This is going to also combo into this heavy slash that we just talked about. However, once again, there is going to be another dead zone like right there, that max spacing. You could like sort of get around this if you have the like dash momentum, so you can play around with that as well. But just keep in mind, if you are just walking back and forth and you try to like get a whip punch or something, you do have that little bit of dead zone that you might want to be wary about. But besides that, these buttons are very good for trolling the space. When your opponent is in the corner like this, you could just sort of bully your opponent at this spacing. It's very hard for them to do something. They had to have like, you know, a really good button to try to check you. Have these fireballs at the ranges that you're playing with. It's kind of hard for them to press something. You know, you have these big buttons, and so they could just check them out of trying to jump or like do the projectile this way. It's so many different things you could do. And it gets really crazy really fast when you're at this like perfect range with Testament. Now, talking about Testament's heavy slash normals, their standing heavy slash is going to be a very nice button. This is going to actually have a disjoint on it, unlike their actual far slash, and they're actually the same speed at 13 frames. The only difference is, of course, the heavy slash is going to have slightly less range and is going to be more negative on block. But this button is going to be actually disjointed. You cannot mess with this button, as you see. This is going to have a disjoint on it, so this is going to be a very good button during your pressure like this, or trying to just fish for that nice counter hit, because this button actually does really good damage. If you check out my combo video, like I said before, the combo does a lot of good damage. Now, Testament's crouching heavy slash button is going to be the swiping scythe move, and this actually is not going to be a low despite how it actually looks. This move is going to have a lot of recovery, so I don't really think you're going to be using this move per se in like neutral, like as far as like trying to counter poke with this button, but you will probably try to do as far as like frame trap people with this. Now, the only problem with this is that because of how slow this move actually is, it actually can jump. But from what I was testing, at least, a lot of characters aren't going to really be punishing you for doing like a block string like this. If it is supposed to hit, I don't really see a like punishment for it, but they will get over it and you will be forced to block in that situation. That will happen because of how long the recovery actually is on this move. But once again, just like the standing heavy slash, the crouching heavy slash is going to be very nice on counter hit, giving you really good damage for this character. One last thing about crouching heavy is it actually launches on hit, so this is going to be very good for actual certain link combos that you could link into like 5k. You could link into like close slash in the corner, so this is going to be very good for stuff like that. Also, when you're actually doing this attack from close slash on an airborne opponent, you can actually go into this and it actually combos. This is going to be very important for certain combos on Testament because of how it actually resonate with the wall. It actually like does more damage to the wall, so where you can get your wall breaks a little bit better on this combo. So you're going to see it a lot in certain combos. And of course, the last of Testament's heavy buttons, their forward heavy slash, this is going to be your furthest reaching button, is going to be your command normal. So this is going to be your like a furthest reaching like just normal poke, but this is going to be your overall furthest reaching button overall. This button right here is huge button that does massive covers, massive range. It's going to be very good for especially at this range when a person's trying to like jump out the corner. You can sort of just tag them like this and then sort of send them back down and like do a projectile like this, and you're keeping that range that you were playing at before, keeping that range again and just stopping them from even trying to do something. It's not going to be disjointed like the 5H or the 2H. However, it is going to be a massive button that is going to stop people from doing certain things. This button is also going to launch on hit as well, so it actually leads to certain combos, like it does launch stuff, so you can, you know, do all sorts of different types of things from the launcher to actually get your combos started. And of course, being a heavy button as well is going to be a massive counter hit starter. So if you actually get a counter hit with this, it is going to hurt. And the last of Testament's ground normals is of course going to be the 5D, just a standard pretty much 5D. It got pretty good range on this one. The hands come out. The hands are going to be the full range of the 5D, which is going to be overhead. And of course the 2D that we've been talking about earlier, that combos from the 5K and the 2K. So got pretty good range on this. You don't really just toss this out though. You usually use it in conjunction with your K buttons, but it is good to know that of course this is one of your buttons. And of course, the last couple of grounded buttons to go over for Testament is going to be the dust button. So the 5D is going to have some pretty nice range on it with the hands right here. So not the like greatest range, not the craziest range, but it has some pretty decent range on it. And of course, the sweep that we've been talking about before, nothing too crazy. It's a sweep that goes pretty well with the Ks. You mainly use this with your K buttons, and it has pretty good range for a sweep. Now, talking about Testament's air button, starting off with JP. JP is going to be a standard like air to ground swipe sort of move. It does a couple of hits. It does its job. It's nothing really crazy. That is going to be their JP. Now, their JK is a very interesting button because this button actually is from behind. It's like sort of like the move that Happy Chaos got, but except for it's just their JK. So this is going to be a button that hits in front, but it also will cross up as well. So like they just automatically turn around. It's a very interesting button. It has a very weird hitbox, and especially if the opponent is crouching, it could just be a hard move to use when you're trying to actually come in on the opponent, as you see. So it has a very small hitbox in front like that. When the opponent is crouching, you could actually just whip this in front of their face. So it is going to be something that will be probably hard to use for an ground to air move, But if you're trying to go for like a cross up or something like this, and you know the spacing that you're going to be coming at the opponent, this could be used like that. Now, it is, of course, an air button. So it actually does work in the air. It actually does its job pretty well. It's not the craziest JK, like it doesn't have like really good range or something. But if you are seeing your opponent rising, or you think your opponent is going to jump at you, this can be a nice button to try to meet them in the air with. Now, Testament JS is going to be amazing air-to-air attack. This button has very nice horizontal reach, and of course lead to pretty easy conversions just by going into itself again, and you could just go from there. So there's a couple of different routes you could do. You could do the JS JH, or you could do the JS JS. A couple of different routes, and of course the counter hits will change it a little bit as well. But very good button to catch people at a certain distance. You want to play at this distance right here. Very good at catching your opponents trying to come at you. You can sort of back up with it or come in with it. This is going to be mainly your go-to air-to-air button, I feel like. Now, JH is going to be your main air-to-ground approach button. It actually hits pretty deep in, so it actually can stuff some anti-airs if the opponent is not ready for your air dash in time. If they are not looking for it, this button hits so deep that it actually will just stuff them completely. So your opponent have to keep this move in mind. It actually is pretty good at stuffing 6Ps once they start getting in like this. So they have to keep that in mind. Now, this move, despite how it looks, actually does not cross up. This is not a cross up. This only move that cross up is going to be your JK. The JH actually does not cross up, even though it looks like it's crossing up right here. Sort of see that I'm sort of hidden behind. This is not a cross up. This is auto guard. So it will not cross them up. The only button that does it once again is going to be your JK for cross ups. Now, the most interesting jump move that Testament has is going to be their JD, just because of the momentum shift that this move does. So it actually does change the momentum of the character. They sort of hover back like that, and this is all hitbox that you see right there. So this is going to be disjointed. So if Testament tries to like come in at me, we can sort of just stop their approach like that. So they can't come in, just sort of stop it. This button is going to be very good, considering that they actually go back a little bit too. You could definitely control the airspace very well, and then you could sort of air dash off this button and get a conversion like that. So it's going to be very good if you want to like sort of hover in the air and sort of just control the space, especially off the instant air dash backwards like that. You can sort of control the space. Now, this button also can hit crouchers, so you can do this from certain block streams. Like you could sort of do JH into this block string, and this actually does count as a double overhead. So your opponent does have to stay standing to actually block this. And then if they get hit, you can actually lead that up into a full conversion. So finally, it's time to talk about Testament special moves. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the most important one, I feel like, which is going to be Grave Reaper. So this is going to be Testament's Fireball right here. So this Fireball can be done with the slash and heavy slash versions. The slash version is going to be a straight projectile on the ground, and the heavy slash version is going to be the one that goes up in the air. There's a couple of things you need to know about this move. One, you can charge it, and there's different levels of the charge actually. So there's going to be the no charge version, there's going to be an half charge version, and then there's going to be the full charge version. Now it could be very hard to understand what's happening here, so show it one more time. The no charge version, it just goes like that. You could pretty much see that it goes like probably half screen. The half charge version goes about almost full screen. If I half charge it right there, you see like it slows down a little bit, right? You see it? And then the full charge version goes completely full screen. So there's 3 different ones, and they don't actually tell you that. It just says like you can hold it. And this is going to be the same case for all of them that you do. And you can also do these in the air, and the same thing applies as far as these hold states that you actually have. So this is going to be something that's going to be very crucial to understanding like how to use these and how to use the angles. Once again, the ones in the air, so the slash version is going to go straight, and the heavy slash version is going to go down. So these are going to be very good for controlling space, especially with instant air dash. You like instant air dash back and throw this out. It's going to be good at covering the space, or if you don't want the opponent to come near you like this, or you want to like do the ground one, or if you want to cover the airspace and press air normals like this, or ground normals like this while you're covering the air with this one. So this is how you're going to control space and get opponents to move in the direction or the way you want them to. So it's going to be very crucial to everything that this character does. It's going to be used in combos, it's going to be used in pressure, it's going to be used in neutral. It is going to be a very important tool for Testament. Now you may notice that each projectile is actually putting out a little succubus girl that is sort of telling you to come on. This is going to be very important for the 2 next moves we're going to talk about. The first one is going to be possession. So Testament actually has a teleport move, which is going to be this is like a sort of like a phase through. When they don't have the succubus on the screen, they sort of just do it. But when the succubus is actually on the screen, they go towards her like that. So if it is behind them, you'll actually go behind them. This is going to be very good. You can also, of course, go in the air with it as well. So this is also going to be good with that. And you can use this in the air. So you actually can do this like this. So you can actually cancel it into that and then actually go into other jump cancel moves. Now you can't do it twice. You can only do it once. However, that is the restriction for is once per state. So there's a ground one and like sort of an air one that you could do. So if you put this in the air, then you can actually do the air ground one and then do the air one. So that is the two. That's the limit. You could do the ground one and then you could do the air one. So as long as you didn't use each version, you could still have access to that version. So another important thing about Testament, another important thing to note is that you can actually feint the actual teleport. So if you hold the button, you can stay in place. You see, I'm not actually going towards the actual succubus girl. So you can choose when you actually want to go towards them or not. So you can choose if you want to actually do the cross up or not. Like, this is the cross up. If I don't want to cross up, then I can just hold the button. This is going to be very good for when you're actually showcasing and like putting it in a different spot. You know, you can actually teleport to it, or they think you're going to teleport to it and you do it in place like that. And so they don't know if you're going to go behind them, you're going to go in front of them, and you're like, you could do a high and low. It gets very crazy. And so you could be in the air or be on the ground and teleport towards it like this. And then you can sort of just, you know, come at them in the air, but then just come behind them like that. So it gets very tricky very fast, and they don't know which one you're going to do. Now, it is going to have somewhat of a recovery on it. So you don't really, you like can't do it on a person that is going to be like where they're looking for it. They can actually just press a button the moment you teleport right on top of them. So you do have to keep that in mind. But if you are maneuvering it correctly and you're like messing around with like sort of, especially the air versions, and they don't know which way to 6p, you can sort of mess up the opponent's sort of like timing for stuff, and you could definitely get like some sort of mix-ups for it. And the other move that is going to utilize the actual succubus is going to be Unholy Diver, which is going to be your crow. Now, the cool thing about the crow is it actually goes in the air like this at first. However, when it comes back, you can actually make it go lower. So it just goes lower when it comes back like this. And this will actually hit crouching opponents. So the first one won't hit crouching opponents. This won't hit crouching opponents. But when it comes back, you actually can hit crouching opponents with it. Now, one thing that's a little bit weird about this move is when you actually throw a projectile like this and it goes with that, notice how it sort of just teleports to you. So it doesn't really come back to you. It teleports. So it takes a little while for you to press it again. You can't really like make it go immediately again like you can like this. So when you do it in conjunction with the succubus, it is going to be a little bit more of a cooldown time, I want to say, for it, rather than actually just letting it go and then letting it come back and calling it back to do the same thing immediately. Just keep that in mind. That is sort of like a restriction they put on the move once you use this. Now, their crow is going to be what actually applies the stain state, and the stain state is going to be a unique mechanic to Testament that is going to allow any normal that you press to cause an explosion to happen. So it can happen on hit or block, as you can see right there, and any normal I press will make it to where that happens. And you can do this even on dust. So if I do it with dust, you can see that you can even do it on dust and even get combos off of a fast dust as well. So you can get anything that, as long as it's a normal, it would do it. So your special moves will not detonate it, but any of your normal presses will actually detonate the actual stain state. Now, because the crow is actually one of the few ways you can actually apply stain state, it's going to be very important to actually utilize this as far as breaking the wall, and I'm going to show you why. As you can see, I broke the wall there. And look, stain state is applied after the wall breaks. So this is super important for breaking the wall with this move if you're not going to be using one of the meter options we're going to talk about later that actually does the same thing. Now, the last special move that Testament has is going to be their sort of mix-up option, which is going to be Arbiter Sign. So the S version is going to be a low, so this actually sort of tracks the opponent a little bit, and then the actual overhead is going to be the heavy. Now, these aren't going to be the best, and I think the best thing to use them is like install a certain combos, or if you have like stain state, then maybe these would be like probably the time that you probably want to use them, because when you actually try to use these moves, not only do they have a dead zone area like this, so you can't use them very up close, but also if they are blocked, which they are pretty slow, they are pretty punishable. So a lot of characters can actually punish these. They're going to be like minus like 20 something, so they're not going to be the best thing to actually like try to mix your opponent. You could try to do it at a certain range, but I've done seen plenty of clips of certain characters just getting free punishes on this move, and yeah, it's just a thing. Just keep that in mind. Now, one unique thing you can do with it is when they actually come out, you can actually RC it and it actually doesn't hit. So you can actually fake like you're going to go for like the overhead or something, and then go for like 2k 2d or something like that. So that can sort of catch your enemy off guard or your opponent off guard if they aren't aware of the tactic and know how it actually works. It's sort of a gimmick that you could try to do for the people. The first super for Testament we're going to talk about is the Calamity one. So this is going to be the reversal super. So it actually does have a very nice hitbox on it. It's going to be very similar to like how Rams work as far as like sort of the range that it covers and like how well it hits and stuff. It does very well for its job. It covers a nice range. When they jump at it as well, it like sort of pushes them back just like Rams. However, the only thing is the startup of this move is not as fast as Rams. So we showcase this example right here. If I try to wake up with the super, as you can see, it could definitely be blocked. So it's a little bit slower on the startup than say like a Ram super. So while it looks very similar, it's not going to be the same case. But this is going to be your reversible super. So don't hesitate to use it on people's block streams if you know there's going to be a big gap. This is going to be a nice way for you to get them off of you for 50 meter. And of course, get some nice damage as well. And the final thing we're going to talk about for Testament is going to be their Succubus super. Now, this super is very nuts. This super is very similar, I want to say, to Septum Familia. But almost just better in every way. So it is going to give you Stain State for free on hit or block. And like I said before, there was another move that actually you want to break the wall with if you can to get Stain State. This is going to be that. So if you want Stain and you didn't want to use Crow, you wanted a more damaging way to do it, or if you just wanted all the benefits from breaking the wall with a super, this is what you're going to want to do for that, while also getting the benefit of getting Stain State. This move is also going to be plus on block. So this is going to be a plus on block super, meaning you can just follow behind it. So the super is going to be just be going on your opponent, and as you can see, you can still move. So Testament was able to move after that, just showcasing that you could just follow up behind it, and as long as you get that Stain State as well too, so you get that one additional attack that's just going to do explosion, so you get even more pressure on top of the situation. But because of how plus the super actually is, you can actually combo off of it as well. So this is a comboable super, much like Septum, but it just gives you the benefit of Stain State, and it just carries very well and is very plus. And you can work with the plus frames very well because of how long it is. Like plus, it's like, I think it's like plus 60 something as far as what I saw. So very, very crazy, very strong move. Also, the last thing I definitely want to say about this move is, while it is plus, there is a gap. However, the gap sort of does not matter because the twins Succubi do not go away. So as you see, even though I did my super back, I still got punished as well. So if I didn't have the meter and I just sort of did like a swipe, I'm still going through the wall for trying to punish Testament for doing the super. So they do not go away even though you hit them, and that is the craziest thing about this super. So it is just very good overall. You just get your plus frames, you just go in, you go get a free mix up. If it's blocked, you get the Stain Stick, so you get the actual extra pop. And of course, if they actually go through the wall, then you get the free Stain State through the wall with all the benefits of breaking the wall. So very, very strong super. I like this one a lot. And that pretty much does it for my overview of Testament. I've been having really fun with this character, man, just figuring things out as far as their combo structure and stuff. I had a few problems at first, but it is pretty straightforward, I feel like, at least. And yeah, I'm just having a blast figuring stuff out with this character and just messing around with all the different things, the Stain State combos, and just figuring out the different movement possibilities with the teleports and the mix-up options stuff. This character got a lot of unique things, so I'm definitely appreciating this character much more now that they're actually in the game and I finally get my hands on them. As far as how good they are, because I always get questions like that, it's too early to say for sure, but definitely I know for sure that they have some strengths, and obviously they definitely have some weaknesses, as much characters inside this game. But yeah, it's definitely just going to take some time until we all figure this stuff out, because obviously it's a brand new character and it's only day one, of course. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Drop me a like if you like anything I had to say. Also, let me know down in the comments below what other videos you want me to do for Testament. Definitely want to hear what you guys got to say. Also, if you want to hear more from me, follow my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications so you know the next video goes live. As always, my name is Dyken, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.